Welcome to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Now here along with Dr. Bonati, your host, Kimberly Brummel.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this edition of American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brummel. We have our friend and our senior fellow? I think we'll just stick with that. Our senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
It sounds very prestigious. A senior fellow at the Bonati Spine Institute.
I like fellow. That sounds great.
Senior fellow. And we have the new executive producer of AM Tampa Bay, Aaron Jacobson. So thank you. You're a welcome addition to the program.
Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you for welcoming me.
And as well, across from me, we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. Thank you for being here, sir. He's reviewing some documents that he's going to be speaking about in his What's New in American Medicine Today segment, but that's later. Many years ago, surgeon Alfred Bonati revolutionized invasive open back surgery by inventing and patenting the minimally invasive Bonati spine procedures. He designed not only that, but the tools to make that exclusive procedure successful. Years of knowledge and experience perfected that procedure. As a dedicated doctor and surgeon, Bonati felt obligated to reduce the high 60 to 90% failure rate for that traditional open back surgery. Since unsuccessful as it was, open back surgery was truly the only option being offered to patients at that time. He was absolutely determined to offer his patients that were in pain a procedure using only a tiny incision with minimal scarring, adhesions, anesthesia, and recovery time. He specifically sought out to invent a successful procedure without heavy hardware and fusions. So Dr. Bonati spent years designing his own minimally invasive laser spine surgery called the Bonati Spine Procedures. And now lucky patients from around the world have had success with those patented procedures. And they're performed right here in Florida, and they all made very informed decisions. Today, through the precision of Dr. Bonati and his staff at the Bonati Spine Institute, the procedures consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. And with that said, a recent 7.5-year patient survey reflects an immediate 98% satisfaction rate, and that's true patient resolve. So how much better can it be that you're hearing from the patient themselves that you didn't just treat a symptom, but you exacted the root of the problem, and that's why Bonati succeeds where others fail. Now, coming up on this program, we're going to be speaking to Brad Chase, partner at Capital Media Partners, to discuss Bowe Bergdahl. But up first, we have...
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
We welcome to today's program Gary Stedola, and forgive me if I slaughtered your name on air. I do apologize, but you had some lumbar surgeries with us, and you're calling in from St. Augustine, Florida. So thank you for joining the program, Gary.
Yes, it's Gary Stedola.
Stedola.
I couldn't hear you there when you said my name, but
that's okay.
Yes, welcome to be here.
Why don't you tell us what was your pain and how long did you suffer with it? How was it affecting your life? Did you seek out other types of conservative treatments and or surgeries, and kind of how you found your way to the Bonati Institute and what that was like for you?
Well, my personal ordeal started back in '98 when I had torn a muscle off of my bone in my back, and at that time, they misdiagnosed it as cervical damage and put me in traction and separated my pelvis from my sacroiliac, which caused sciatica pain, which I lived with for 10 years. And I also, in that 10-year period, had developed what's called spinal stenosis, where my vertebrae bones were growing into my spine. So both my legs were starting to deteriorate on me.
Okay.
In 2012, I had surgery that they put 4 pins through my pelvis into my sacroiliac to close up the gap to stop the sciatica pain. That was done by a different surgeon.
How did that work for you?
Go ahead.
How did that work for you?
It's, at the time, it was a long recovery, 3 months. I had to stay in the bed because in putting the 4 pins in, they cracked my pelvis a bit.
Oh.
And then they removed one of the 4 pins and repositioned one of the 3 that were left. And it was terrible recovery. After the recovery, I had 6 months of relief after 10 years having the sciatica pain continuously. So they did resolve it in a sense, but then I took a trip and riding in the car, I got done with my trip and my sciatica pain was coming back.
Why don't you explain for people that are going through sciatica, what does that pain feel like?
Yeah, great question.
Oh, it's a burn. The best way the surgeon that put the pins in described it is, imagine your spinal fluid being acid, and it's contained in the spinal cord, but when that sacroiliac, which is your pump, leaks onto your nerve running down your leg, it puts a burning sensation in it.
Ooh.
That runs all the way down your leg.
And Gary,
that is about my best description of it.
You said that when they did this surgery and they inserted the 4 pins, that it took you, what'd you say, 3 months to recover?
Yes. I had to lay in pretty much bedridden for 3 months because my bones had cracked. And that, so when they went in and removed that 4th pin, I had to stay unweighted on that pelvis until that healed up.
You have everyone in this studio cringing, and we can feel that pain. So I can't even imagine what it was like to live with it for so long.
Well, when he finished, like I said, I had 6 months of relief, but I had anticipated him needing to do both sides. But after he did the first side, he told me that my other leg pain wasn't sciatica, but my stenosis. And I had known Dr. Bonati through 20 years ago. My dad had done some remarkable survival of electrocution. And at that time, the Bonati group knows my dad well as the man with the black hands, because his hands were literally black from being electrocuted. And Dr. Bonati had gone in and done his right side of his spine and cleared out a lot of, when your bones get current to them, they grow or burn, like putting a bone in a pot for days, it swells up.
Yeah.
So he had relieved my dad of a lot of pain 20 years ago with this procedure. So I was aware of it already. And so when they mentioned my stenosis, I right away went over to Dr. Bonati. He was quite amazed to see these pins in me. He's never seen nothing of the likes. And I was having a lot of relief when he did my right side as far as the stenosis. He did my right L4, L5, then the L5S1. And we kind of had a little joke because when he did the first surgery, before he did it, he had looked at my MRIs, and Eric had told me, his assistant had come in and told me, when doctor comes in, don't tell him where you hurt, let him tell you. And I tell you, that man was so precise on my pains, pointed out pains that I had, but I've had so long I didn't consider them as pain. And then he remarked that he was surprised I was able to walk to my car. And I assured him I can walk to my car, not without pain, but I can. Well, after he did the L5 or L4 to L5 on the right side, the next day I couldn't walk to my car. But with all anticipation, knowing there was more to come, and what he had done was, I believe the pressure on the L5 to S1 was so severe, but the L4 to L5 was blocking that pain by sending its pain signals to me. And once he released the L4 to L5, I felt the L5 to S1 pain. And so, but 2 days later, we went right back. He assured me he was expecting it. We went right back in a couple of days later, and that day, actually, after the day after that he had done the procedures, it was just remarkable. My right side was basically pain-free, something I hadn't had in years. So.
Now, what was that like to wake up for the first time without pain? Explain that feeling, that first emotion.
Well, it wasn't when I woke up that it felt great. It was during surgery.
Ooh.
You had that instant relief of pain when Dr. Bonati found just the right spot.
Even more remarkable.
Yes. I mean, you're awake during the procedure and giving feedback, and that was quite remarkable. My first time watching what he was doing up on the TV screen, and going in there, I had a lot of animosity. I mean, I wasn't comfortable about it by no means, but he has a nurse Ann made you feel so well and so warm when you go in there that, as she told me, when you look up at the screen, he's going to wake you up, and don't be alarmed, because them tools that look like garden tools are really, really tiny.
Hey, Gary, we're up against a break. Can we ask you to hang on just a second? Kimberly's going to tell folks who are listening, if they're suffering pain like Gary, how they can reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute.
Well, if you or someone you know is suffering from headaches, back, neck, or sciatic pain, they can reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute at 855-267-0482, or they can visit the website at bonati.com. Coming up after the break, we're going to hear more from patient Gary Stedola, who had surgery with the Bonati Spine Institute. You're listening to News Radio 970, WFLA. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail. The Bonati Spine Institute is proud to announce more than a 94% patient-reported success rate in over 45,000 patent-protected spine surgical procedures. Call us today at 855-267-0483 or visit us at bonati.com.
All my pain is gone. Today I am totally pain-free. Nothing. No after effect.
I'm pain-free, and I have had to take any pain medication.
Today I am pain-free for the first time in over a year, and it is so awesome.
I only wish I'd known about it earlier. Right now, I am completely without pain.
Sitting here in this office right now, pain-free, eager to enjoy the rest of my life.
I am feeling great.
I feel 100% better, like a new person.
Today I feel absolutely fantastic. It's just incredible, the relief I feel right now.
Today I'm completely pain-free.
During the procedure, I literally felt the pain melt away. It was fantastic.
I feel so good.
It took care of my headaches instantly.
It's incredible. It's really incredible.
It gave me my life back.
It's just wonderful.
I feel fantastic.
It is just absolutely amazing.
So I'm hoping to be climbing hills in a few weeks.
Revolution revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Bermel.
Thank you for listening to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel, joined by world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati, our senior fellow Jeff Wagstaff, and we have Aaron Jacobson as well. Now, before the break, we were speaking with patient Gary Stedola, and I hope I pronounced that right this time, sir. I apologize. But he was telling us about suffering and pain and going through surgery where you had pins in you and it cracked. What did you call it? The pelvis. Was it the pelvis? And you were out of commission for about 3 months, bed rest, and you had mentioned that there was something else with those pins that Dr. Bonati saw while he was operating on you at the Bonati Spine Institute. And just to preface this, the pins were not put in by Dr. Bonati. This was a surgery that you had elsewhere.
Yes. It came aware after he did my right side. My sciatica pain had started to come back, but actually started giving me pain right where the pins were. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Bonati, this was back in October of 2013, had said, well, it'd take longer for prep than it would take to do it, but he could go in and cut a nerve no bigger than a strand of my hair that I wouldn't feel that pin anymore, or have feeling on that side anymore for about 3 months. And then if the feeling came back, it would show that there's an issue and it's just not basically in my head. So as going in to do that, the surgery ended up being over 3 hours instead of 15 minutes because, thank the Lord, he had, with his camera following the sciatic nerve, had come aware that when they put the pins in, they had entrapped my sciatica nerve in between the joint that was growing shut, that was being fused together.
Oh, that's incredible.
And it was basically, in the next 2 years, I would have been paralyzed. I would not have been walking with my right leg at all if he hadn't been come across that in going in to inspect my pins. So he made a canal, basically lasered out a chamber for that nerve to be free through. And then we let it go. Well, that was, let's say, in October. Come January, February, that pin started bothering me pretty severely again. The nerve had grown back, apparently, or whatever. But at that time, we were continuing to do the lapidectomy on the left side for my spinal stenosis.
Ooh.
So it wasn't on the same side he was working. So we went ahead and I believe we did L4, L5, L5S1 on the left, and L3 to L4. We didn't do 4 to 5. We did 3 to 4, 5 to S1.
Got it.
But on the right, we had done all lumbar and the S1.
Wow.
During those surgeries, it was a piece of cake, something you can expect. If he does these surgeries, elected it, they do, the next day they take the drain out and they do a pain block and spinal block. And I've done that all but one time, and you can actually expect to, if you get the spinal block, for the next 3 days, you'll be comfortable. The 4th day, you'll be in a lot of pain.
Okay.
By the 5th day, though, you'll wake up without the pain, even 50%. And after that, you're better than you were, for sure. If you elect not to hit the pain block, the next day after, second day after surgery, you will start hurting, and you will hurt for 5 days.
But a totally different type of pain than the one that you went in there with, correct?
Oh, yes. I'm talking about
surgery site pain. Yes.
The pains that he's in there to fix, like I said, I mean, he can look at the MRI and tell you exactly what nerve is doing what. And when he goes in there, he precisely releases that pain.
Did that amaze you?
Yeah, I mean, there's other things that I did. 2 times I went back in, one of my own neglect. I was, after doing the surgeries back in 2013 on the right side, I was proceeding, I was under a house swinging sledgehammer, and I kind of locked up in my back, and so I made an appointment with him to continue getting the left side done, but that was the one that really was an instantaneous. He found a piece of bone down in between my L4 and L5, trapped in the vertebrae.
Ooh.
That when he was in there doing the surgery, I was like, that right there, that is what I feel.
Yeah.
And it was like just pulling a piece of wood out of my finger, you know, as far as the pain being released.
Just instant release then, huh, Gary?
Yeah, and what it was he had found, where it came from wasn't known, but there was a piece of bone floating around that had gotten lodged in my vertebrae.
Wow.
That was instantaneous. Like, that is it. Pull it out, and it was gone.
I don't know if you remember, Gary, that the pain that you had, the last pain, the 3 pains, the lower pain, that pain was penetrating in your pelvis and was sitting exactly on top of the sciatic nerve. So remember that when we try to take the pain out there, I need to use a hammer to hammer the pain out. And the first time that we tried to take the pin out, that pin was so solid, like a rock there, that was unable to come. So we need to reschedule you to be able to use a new instrumentation to make a hole around the pin so we can lose the pin a little bit. And then we took the pin out, and when we removed the pin from there, the pain was completely gone from your leg, correct?
Yeah, that was the other one I was going to get to, as far as instantaneous. Wow. I've been complaining about that pin, and imagine snow packed on top of a nail, and the more the snow piles up, the farther the nail
Gary, we're up against a break, but we want to thank you for sharing your story with us, and we're glad to hear that you have relief now.
Okay.
Thank you very much. You're listening to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail. The Bonati Spine Institute is proud to announce more than a 94% patient-reported success rate in over 45,000 patent-protected spine surgical procedures. Call us today at 855-267-0483 or visit us at bonati.com.
All my pain is gone. Today I am totally pain-free. Nothing. No after effect.
I'm pain-free, and I have had to take any pain medication.
Today I am pain-free for the first time in over a year, and it is so awesome.
I only wish I'd known about it earlier. Right now, I am completely without pain.
Sitting here in this office right now, pain-free, eager to enjoy the rest of my life.
I am feeling great.
I feel 100% better, like a new person.
Today I feel absolutely fantastic. It's just incredible the relief I feel right now.
Today I'm completely pain-free.
During the procedure, I literally felt the pain melt away. It was fantastic.
I feel so good.
It took care of my headaches instantly.
It's incredible. It's really incredible. It made my life back.
It's just wonderful.
I feel fantastic. It is just absolutely amazing.
So I'm hoping to be climbing hills in a few weeks.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Vermel.
Thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Vermel, joined by world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute, our senior fellow Jeff Wagstaff, and Aaron Jacobson. Now, on the line, this is exciting. We have J.D. Gordon, former Defense Department spokesperson and Fox News contributor. He's going to be speaking about the Bowe Bergdahl release. So thank you for joining us on the air today.
Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate it.
Well, this has been the controversy of controversies. Why don't you give us your take on this release, this trade-off with 5 terrorists for this gentleman? Give us your take on what you see and what you know.
Well, I appeared on the town hall with Sean Hannity this week. Rudy Giuliani appeared as well, and about 16 others. And, you know, it airs 3 times this weekend, Friday night at 10 p.m. and twice on the weekend, one Saturday, one Sunday. And we heard a range of views on the town hall. And my perspective is that this is a very dangerous movement for the United States. It's really a betrayal. And the reason it's that is because it's unprecedented in our history for a president to step in and release 5 of the top enemies during wartime for a soldier, any soldier, regardless of the circumstances. And the main takeaway that Al-Qaeda and the Taliban get from this, well, if they can get the Taliban's 5 top leaders for a deserter, imagine what they can get for a war hero. Kimberly, you know, we're talking about the Deputy Minister of Defense, the Deputy Minister of Intelligence, 2 governors, a provincial security chief. This is the cream of the crop. This is the Taliban dream team. And President Obama just gave him away for a soldier, and a soldier who was a deserter, by the way. So it's terribly dangerous for national security.
You know, everyone thinks this is some sort of right-wing conspiracy. How dare anyone speculate on what happened? But his own platoon has been all over the news, where at least Fox News, at least they're getting the word out there that this gentleman was a deserter. And they said even if he tries to claim himself he wasn't a deserter, well, unfortunately, they were the ones that were deserted. So they can come up with whatever backstory they want to sell the public. We know there's a lot of lip service with this administration, so I'll be the first one to say it. I see. The only thing moving I see is lips. So why don't you talk a little bit more about this? Actually, I do have a question. You know, like you said, never in the history have there been a release of this magnitude for a deserter from his platoon, traded out for 5 top Taliban individuals. Now, do you think that maybe he was some sort of covert ops, and maybe that's going to be a story that comes out to try to save this guy? He really wasn't a traitor, but he was covert ops or something, and nobody knew?
Oh, no. No, not at all. I think he was just a delusional soldier. On June 27th of 2009, he wrote emails back to his family in Idaho saying that America is disgusting. He's embarrassed to be an American. Then he mailed home his books and his uniforms. His father, who's also very delusional too, in my opinion, his father, Bowe Bergdahl, wrote back, "Obey your conscience." 3 days later, Bowe Bergdahl disappeared off post. His soldiers knew about it. He asked his superior on the 30th of June 2009, he asked him after getting off guard duty, would there be problems if I left the base and took sensitive equipment? And basically his platoon leader said, well, if you took your rifle and night vision goggles, yeah, of course there'd be problems.
Right.
But guess what? He left them on the base and just took a knife and a compass. And, of course, he was captured by the Taliban. Who knows if he got Stockholm Syndrome, but he certainly identified with them. He apparently taught them badminton. There was a body language expert that was on television the other day making the rounds and basically saying that he read
had
his
a
body
gun.
language during the release. Yeah,
Didn't he also carry a gun at times?
Well, he carried a gun with the Taliban.
Yes.
Like he was one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And he was so tortured that they needed to release him 5 years after the fact?
Well, I know. That's the thing that really bothers me about this administration because, President Obama broke the law by letting him go. Basically, by letting him go rather in return for these 5 Taliban top leaders. There is a law in the United States that when detainees are released from Guantanamo, the president has 30 days that he has to notify the Congress beforehand to make sure that they're appropriately vetted for security concerns, threat mitigation. He didn't do that. And so he broke the law. And so the president has no problem breaking the law. And so what the excuse was that Secretary Hagel gave was, oh, well, his life was in danger. His health was in danger. So now has Secretary Hagel and the president, have they become doctors? What American medical physician has interviewed the guy to know his life was in danger any more time now than in the last 5 years? So I just can't believe this administration. They just keep telling the American people one deception after another. I mean, they told the American people Benghazi happened because of a video. And Susan Rice was out there talking about how this Sergeant Bergdahl, who was actually a private first class and promoted twice when he was in captivity, a 2-sergeant, she said he served with honor and distinction. I mean, it sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit. She doesn't blame half of the talking points.
Yeah, it sounds like disgrace to me, more or less. Dr. Bonati, you had a question for Mr. Gordon?
Yeah, Mr. Gordon, I don't understand why all these lies and all this are never being punished, never being brought to a responsibility. I don't understand how, if this is against the law, why is not a movement to impeach Obama? We are talking about the necessity that this country needs to be once for all in some sort of a obey the Constitution and obey the law.
Okay, sounds like we lost J.D. Gordon. Let's see if we can get him back on the line. But he touched on something that when Bergdahl's father has been in the news, what we also have learned is just before his son was released, he was actually tweeting back and forth with the Taliban.
Right.
Now, this guy looks like he's part of the Taliban, and it seems that I don't know if his political views align with them, or I can't imagine how a father would feel whose son, under any circumstances, was held. So I don't know what has drawn him to where he is.
Let's play devil's advocate, okay? And I'm not a supporter of this, but
Kimberly,
Ms. J.D.
Gordon, you're back with us, correct?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, perfect. We were just briefly talking about Bowe Bergdahl's father and being in communication with the Taliban. Do you think that, as a concerned parent, if it were my child that was taken, don't you think that all of a sudden you would try to do anything you could to try to talk to these people? Maybe he thought he was doing something good?
I think both Bowe Bergdahl and his dad, Bowe Bergdahl, are not mentally right. But, we have a country of 310 million people, and sometimes guys get in the military who are not mentally right, and their parents sometimes aren't. I mean, look at Bradley Manning, one of the worst examples of a guy who was just not right in the head and did tremendous damage. The fault, though, is with President Obama. That's the guy who had Bowe Bergdahl at the White House in the Rose Garden with Bowe Bergdahl's mom, Janny. The president ought to know better than to have this guy who talks about praising Allah and speaking in Pashto about his son and saying his son doesn't even speak English well now. How could his son not speak English now? He spent the first 23 years of his life in the United States.
Correct.
I just don't get it. This is the president's fault. This is the president's lack of judgment. It just shows you where his priorities lay. And I tell you what, they are not for national security for the United States, and that ought to trouble everybody in America.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Mr. Gordon, one thing that's important, I was trying to, before I lost you, I was trying to ask you a question. Why is not a movement to impeach Obama?
Well, Senator Graham was talking about that the other day, that if the president goes forward and keeps releasing detainees from Guantanamo against the law, without telling Congress 30 days in advance, including a threat mitigation plan, then yes, the Congress could go ahead and impeach him if he keeps doing it.
Yeah, but that's again the next time. The next time. You know something? I'm tired to listen the next time I'm going to put my pants on. You know what? You need to go ahead and say, you really pass the limits of the law here. You need to be impeached. And this movement needs to be done now. We continue with the same movement as the next time. And that's why these men continue using the Constitution as a little book to laugh at.
Well, I totally can understand that and relate to it. President Reagan used to say about politicians, when they feel the heat, they will see the light. So President Obama needs to hear from the American people through Congress and just from the public at large. We should be having rallies, marches, demonstrations. Those kind of things are the things that get public pressure for President Obama to do something or for the Congress to do anything. Basically, the administration and the Congress have to be pressured from the American people. The American people should hold the White House accountable for their actions. We should not stand for it. But, it's a battle of ideas because basically you'll have the left saying, oh, no, it's a right-wing plot. You even had the Deputy Assistant Secretary at HUD for Public Affairs saying, oh, well, these guys are, these platoon members, they're more psychopaths than good leaders. Unbelievably outrageous things like that. The White House is trying to say these platoon mates who basically know Bowe Bergdahl, know what happened. They're trying to say he's swift-voting them.
Not only is a lack of respect for these heroes, is just only to try to cover the rear end for the damage that they did to the nation and the things that they are the lies that they continue perpetrating. They are saying now that these men, that they were fear for the life of these men. Why they don't are fear with the life of the guy that's sitting in Mexico?
Well, you're right. 6 soldiers died looking for Bowe Bergdahl.
No soldiers.
Bowe Bergdahl is a deserter.
Yes. No soldiers left behind by this administration. We're coming up on the end of the segment. Thank you for joining us. J.D. Gordon, former Defense Department spokesperson and Fox News contributor. Really great conversation. We'd like to have you back at some other time. And you are listening to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. If you or someone you know is suffering with neck, back, leg, or sciatic pain, reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute at 855-267-0482 or visit Bonati.com. After the break, you're going to hear from Dr. Bonati about what's new in American medicine today. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail. The Bonati Spine Institute is proud to announce more than a 94% patient-reported success rate in over 45,000 patent-protected spine surgical procedures. Call us today at 855-267-0483 or visit us at Bonati.com.
All my pain is gone.
Today I am totally pain-free. Nothing. No after effect.
I'm pain-free, and I have had to take any pain medication.
Today I am pain-free for the first time in over a year, and it is so awesome.
I only wish I'd known about it earlier. Right now, I am completely without pain.
Sitting here in this office right now, pain-free, eager to enjoy the rest of my life.
I am feeling great.
I feel 100% better, like a new person.
Today I feel absolutely fantastic. It's just incredible, the relief I feel right now.
Today I'm completely pain-free.
During the procedure, I literally felt the pain melt away. It was fantastic.
I feel so good.
It took care of my headaches instantly.
It's incredible. It's really incredible. It gave me my life back.
It's just wonderful.
I feel fantastic. It is just absolutely amazing.
So I'm hoping to be climbing hills in a few weeks.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
You are listening to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati and Jeff Wagstaff. What I can say is I wish you guys were all privy to what happens here between the breaks. You might find that humorous, but now it's that serious time in the segment when we hear from Dr. Bonati about what's...
Let's look at what's new in medicine today, featuring Alfred Bonati, MD.
Take it away, sir.
Well, I'm a little curious about this last segment when we're talking about Gary Stedola.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you this. That was an ordeal of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Not only he had spinal stenosis, who really affect his gait and his opportunity to really ambulate distance.
Mm-hmm.
So when we correct that one, we have a permanent pain on the sciatic that was unbelievable, tender and disturbing for him and for me,
mm-hmm.
because I didn't really know where the pain was coming from. We went inside of the L5S1 and look everything, and we cleaned the nerve, and we look at the thing. Everything was perfect.
Right.
But he had a permanent sciatica pain.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look and I said, let me take a look, go back to the films and look at everything. I was almost dropped myself on the floor when I realized that the last pin that was placed on his pelvis penetrate the pelvic area and was touching the sciatic nerve. So this man lived years with that pain. I can't believe that. So
he credits you with keeping him from being paralyzed.
Well, not
you heard him say it himself.
Not really. I think he was very concerned about being paralyzed because he lost the function of his legs due to the stenosis. But when we cleaned the stenosis, the nerve recovered totally, and he was able to now ambulate, but he still had the sciatic pain. So when I look at that pin penetrating the pelvic area and touching the nerve, I will, oh my God, I want to take this pin out. Well, we put him on the table and we got the instruments appropriate to be able to remove that pin. And I'm telling you this, that pain was sitting in that place and will not move for anything. So the instrument has a type of a special hammer that you use to pull these pins out. Well, I use all my mighty to try to get the pin out from there. Nothing moved. Nothing moved. So I took everything. I told him, I cannot take this pin out. I need to get a new idea. So what we did is we used the scope and we used a drill, and we drill all over around the pin. So we loosen up the pin, and now we took the pain. The situation was immediate. He said to me, my pain is gone. So I'm bringing you this because it's a curiosity on this treatment, and because Gary had a lot of trust on me, and he said, you're gonna get it, don't worry about it, you're gonna get it. And I appreciate very much how much support he gave me. Well, I keep saying to you, this type of service is very, very much unique in United States. This type of service by the physicians of the American force of physicians, we are really very unique specimen around the world. We are not only individuals that they respect the patients, we're also individuals that they want to help the patients. Every specialist has that hope, and every specialist love their patients. It's amazing to see the respect that we receive from our patients and the respect that we gave to them. So it's important that that type of relationships are not being destroyed by a politician. Obama is trying to destroy medicine. I don't know why. I don't know what he thinks. I don't know what is his purpose. But to control a society, the first thing that you do is you control the health of the society. When you control the health of the society, then you have control over the individual. That is a socialistic plan. That is a plan of the communist type of a country. Never work in any country the health care provided by government. Never, ever, ever work. And despite that they are talking about, the socialists, they are talking about that the medical health care in this country is, I think they say around the 23 or 43 or something like that. I don't remember the number, that they say that it's around the world. You know something? If that is true, why the rest of the world come to be treated in the United States? When you have a problem, the people said, I'm going to United States and I'm going to get better. The advances of medicine are born in this country. The investigation is born in this country. We are very unique, extremely unique. And an individual of the quality of Obama, who probably, we never saw his records on his studies or on his university. So,
only president that's happened to.
Yeah, well, it's just amazing how the country tolerates this situation. But the major trouble is they need to be very careful, because if medicine disappears in the level that it is today, the health of the country is going to suffer.
And that's a look at what's new in medicine today with Alfred Bonati, MD.
Scary, but true. You are listening to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. If you or someone you know is suffering with headaches, neck, back, or leg pain, reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute at 855-267-0482 or visit Bonati.com. Watch us later at ABC WFTS, Channel 28 at 7.